Nobody wins when the family feels.
Today, the Miami police vowed to put an end to the turf war. Some may have vowed to put an end to them. A caller to Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers that left a message saying, quote, since the city police are going after the John Does are going to set up rooftop snipers.
What do you think about all this gang violence that's going on in the streets?
I don't know.
What do you think about charges against you?
I don't know what charges against me.
They didn't tell you the charges against you?
No.
Hard to believe the FBI usually does that. That's the law. They didn't tell you what you charged with? You know Little Vo? What do you think of Little Vo?
I don't know him, man.
You don't know Little Vo?
No.
Are you in the John Does? What do they want?
Who is that? What that is?
John Doe gang. You know what it is.
I know what that is.
Are you a gang member, sir?
No.
Where'd you get the teeth?
Yes, there's been some shooting on Northwest 70th Street and 15th Avenue.
What happened?
Somebody got set up.
I did it?
My sister got shot too.
How many shots have you heard?
I heard about 15 shots. I hit the floor when I heard the noise. Then I hear a lot of yelling outside now.
15-year-old Sabrina O'Neill was gunned down. At the time, her loved ones urged the killers to turn themselves in.
She means everything to me. And it would mean everything in the world. It was the person who did it just come forward.
In January, Taji Pearson, the last of 5 co-defendants with an open case, was found guilty. Pearson got life in prison.
Hello. What up, Mike? How you doing? Good afternoon.
Good, Trev. How are you?
A one-time leader of the John Does, Travis Galashaw.
Mind you, Travis Galashaw pled guilty to conspiracy to murder a prosecutor.
Now, we just got to keep everybody alive and going until then.
Fam, before we even dive into this story, let's take a second to sit with the weight of what we are about to hear. A man was sentenced to die in prison. Not because of DNA, not because of video, not because someone had saw him do it, but because someone with power decided his freedom didn't matter. Now, the harsh reality is that this is an everyday occurrence. Well, that happened to a Florida man who we'll later discuss and talk to. After years behind bars, he finally walked free just a couple months ago. And the crazy thing about it, the people who testified on him are the ones that's currently incarcerated while he walked free. Fam, this story about street politics, federal informants, corruption inside law enforcement, and the justice system that picked a side before a trial even began. And in the middle of it all, a man from Opelika, just trying to make it through the noise, was labeled a killer by people who had everything to gain by saying his name. And those in charge, they buried the truth, well, at least tried to. But like they say, what's done in the dark shall come to the light, because the truth didn't stay buried. Hidden emails, secret payments, and a federal witness who said one thing behind closed doors and another on the stand. Now it's all coming to the light. This victim, once a suspect, is here with the family TV to tell his story. Raw, real, and unfiltered. This is an exclusive you probably won't hear nowhere else, fam. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. This man spent years in prison for a crime he allegedly didn't commit. His name is Taji Pearson, and the evidence that could have cleared his name, it was hidden. Not once, not by accident, but over and over by the very people meant to protect justice. It's crazy that it's been 15 years since 15-year-old Sabrina O'Neill was gunned down in a drive-by shooting in Liberty City. It was a Sunday evening, January 24th, 2010, at Annie Coleman apartment complex on Northwest 52nd Street and 21st Avenue. The suspects used an AK-47 and a shotgun. They drove by in a silver or gray car and sprayed the area with bullets. 4 people were hit, 3 survived, and unfortunately, Sabrina, as mentioned, just 15 years old, passed away. May she rest in peace. I love her condolences to her family. According to the state, their theory of what they came out with was Dwayne Miller and William Brown's testimony, and the alleged motive was for a January 24th, 2010 drive-by shooting at Nolia's apartment complex. It was part of an ongoing retaliation war between rival Miami street cliques. See, here's the full detailed breakdown. Those might not remember, but I'll leave the link in the bio, because we did a story on a 33-year-old man who was identified as William Little Bill Brown about 11 months ago. And the reason I bring that up is because that's connected to this story today. A Miami serial killer involved in at least 6 killings was finally sent off to prison back in January of 2025. a month after the Miami Herald had exposed an unusual arrangement whereby the state prosecutor kept him in the county jail for 14 years, digging up information on other inmates. William Lil Bill Brown, now 33 years old, a former gang leader from Opelika, had been in his own jail cell in the county since he was 19 years old. Jail officials said he was protected from other inmates, often dialing up then prosecutor Michael Vaughn, who was also in the video that we talked about, which is in the bio. The Miami-Dade prosecutor had given Brown a sweetheart deal, 25 years in prison and immunity from prosecution from one of Miami's worst mass shootings, which we also talked about. Recorded calls reviewed by the Herald has showed that Brown expected Vaughn, the prosecutor, to reduce his sentence even further if he kept cooperating. And one of those stories he told on, behind bars, was Taji Pearson. But here's where things get spooky. Taji Pearson was indicted February in 2013, alongside others, for first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and 3 counts of attempt murder. And the sad part is, according to prosecutors, Lil Bill mentioned that he was the one who called the hit, and that Taji was the alleged muscle. You got a Sir UK, get incarcerated, get special treatment from authorities, and making hits while incarcerated. They was playing foul game, but Taji had went to trial. He was convicted by a jury on December 6, 2023, based on solely testimony. Sentenced on January 12, 2024 to 4 concurrent life sentences and 1 30-year concurrent sentence. No physical evidence, no video, no eyewitness linked Pearson to the crime. The case hinged solely on cooperating witnesses. But shortly after, Taji's attorney had got wind one of the state's key witnesses was paid, or his mother was paid, $5,000 by law enforcement. The payment was never disclosed to Taji's defense. Miller's federal attorney confirmed the payment. Officials claimed it was for relocation to New York, but public records show Miller's mother never lived in New York, instead moving to Georgia, where the family still lives. They believe Miller received the payment for his testimony, a classic motive for impeachment under Brady. In a January 14, 2022 email to prosecutor Michael Vaughn, Miller wrote that he didn't remember events from 7 to 8 years ago and implied pressure from the state to, quote, make him remember. This directly contradicts his confident testimony at trial, in which he did take the stand. The email was never provided to the defense and was later confirmed by Miller in a post-trial interview. Federal reports from 2012 contain statements from Miller that contradict his trial testimony, indicate he and Pearson were in straight drop, not rival gang A&E, and included claims that William Brown ordered a hit on Miller, which would further impeach Brown, another state witness. Now, detectives were present at these debriefings, and the reports were eventually emailed to the state in 2023, but never turned in to the defense. And because of all this, Taji, he got free. Now you got the backstory, fam. Check out the interview. Welcome to the Family TV. Who do we have a privilege of speaking with today?
Taji Pearson, a.k.a. Slim.
Fam, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Appreciate you too, bro.
I want to start from the very beginning, fam. If you don't mind telling us, where was you born and raised?
I'm from Miami-Dade County, born and raised in Opelika, North Miami. And hung in a neighborhood called the Triangle.
Okay. 21. What was your neighborhood like growing up?
Oh, very violent. Like one of the most deadly, dangerous hoods in the United States. 4 corners, 4 avenues. You know, so.
Got you.
Pretty tough.
Got you. If you can remember, what kind of kid were you growing up?
Oh, I was, mama's boy. Went to church. Good grades. Quiet. I was very quiet, but I was, a good, listener.
Okay. What was your dreams back then?
My dreams back then, play basketball.
Like me.
Play soccer. Like I always wanted to do different things. Tennis. Like everybody played football down there in Miami. So I wanted to be different.
Did you feel like it was a path to get to that or for you to win? Or did you feel like it was kind of like a setup?
It was like I grew up, I stayed in North Miami, but I raised in Opelika. So I had both sides. So when we moved, I had a path till we moved in Opelika. Right. Like when we moved there 2000, now I'm now 24.
Right. What's the difference?
Oh, the triangle, man. That's Opelika. That's not taking nothing from North Miami, but Opelika is very dangerous. Like it's no different than Memphis, Chicago, LA is no different. Just
Can you talk about the first time you was ever stopped or arrested or profiled by the police?
my first time was when I was younger, or like in Opelika.
Your first interaction with authorities growing up.
People. I was like 9, 8, like 9 or 10, and I was in the store with one of my dogs, and he shoplifted, and he got away, and they took me to jail. So it was like it was.
Growing up, you feel like justice something you feared, or was it something you able to see?
Justice like what? The police?
Yeah, like, do you feel like justice is something you feared or something you were used to seeing people fail around you?
Yes, yes. I grew up seeing that. Grew up seeing people get killed or go to prison. You know what I'm saying? Selling dope.
Right. What was your life at around 2010?
I had just got out of prison in 2009. So I was in the streets. I was, free.
So you just got out of prison in 2009?
Yeah, September 1st, 2009.
You mind briefly speaking on that, or?
Yeah, I can talk about it, alleged. I ain't gonna say allegedly, but I tried to, I caught 2 aggravated assaults on off-duty police and attempt on robbery and possession of firearm.
Then in 2013.
I had just got out of prison again. I got out February 1st for violating my probation. So I did from December 2011 to February 1st, 2013. So when I got out on the 1st, I killed my probation. And February 13th, 2013, the grand jury did the indictment on this case.
Fam, do you know anybody by the name of Dwayne Miller?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I know him very good.
What that name mean to you?
Somebody that betrayed me, rat, informant. Somebody who couldn't do his time in federal prison, so he told. Brought down other people on federal cases, so it's just not good.
Right. Is that someone you knew prior to him being arrested?
Yeah, I knew him from when I got out of prison, 2009. I met him through William Brown.
What do William Brown mean to you?
Oh man, that's Master Splinter. You ask me, Master Splinter. Fake friends. Now he's from my neighborhood. Like he's from 21 Jump Street. Like he's from the Triangle. So he was raised under that keep your mouth closed, and he went against that.
That's the guy they refer to as Little Bill, correct?
Little Bill. William Henry Brown, aka Little
Bill. Fam, when did you first hear your name was being tied to a murder?
2008.
What was your reaction?
Not me. They was going by, I due to me in that neighborhood, and a lot done happened in that neighborhood, and I used to be out a lot. And, people that ain't, people that haters, how haters is. And, informants, they was running, telling police that I was doing stuff, which was a lie. And, the neighborhood favored Bill more than me. So not to fast forward, but even when I got locked up, the streets was more praising him. They was happy he was telling on me. And even when I lost trial, the streets was like, oh, that's goody for Slim. Yeah, Slim can't keep thinking he go do all he ain't all the stuff allegedly they done. And you know, William Brown even went to you lied to the extent and lied and told them that I killed 16 people. And so the streets was more favoring him. And,
Did you have communication with Bill when he was incarcerated?
Yeah.
Okay.
2009, 2010, 2010. He wasn't locked up 2009. 2010, 11, locked up 2002. I talked to him on conference, and when I got out of 13.
So I'm assuming that's how you was allegedly tied in when he was talking to authorities about a conversation you guys had?
Yes, I was on the streets. Yes, and he was locked up.
Okay. January 31st, 2010. Did you hear anything about that situation with the young girl losing her life?
No, it's the 20. You say 24.
24. What was going through your mind when you was told that you was tied into this?
I've been here. I was tied into it till 2013.
Right.
Went to the grand jury Wednesday. I mean, the February 13th. But a dude from prison called me on the 11th of February 2013 and told me, "Hey man, you know they saying your name is on the shooting." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, he called me from a prison phone, so like he asked me, "You scammed me because you only recorded calls." So I'm like, "Man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what they talking about, bro." He like, "Bro, it's going to the grand jury in 2 more days." So I'm like, "How the fuck? How you know? Like, how you know that?" He like, "Just tell you what they saying down there."
What's going through your mind at this point?
Well, what the hell they got going on? Like, I couldn't believe it. But I'm like, man, they might be lying. Like, man, I just got out, man. I know, you know what I'm saying?
At that moment, you didn't think your once associates had tied the clues?
Not at all. I ain't think Dwayne Miller or William Brown or LaBelle. I ain't think, not at all.
The case, the witnesses, and the trial, right? When the state had labeled you as a gang enforcer, what was going through your mind?
They don't know what they're talking about. You know, it was like, that's the image, that's the picture of Bill and Bone and Dwayne Miller and Bone, they painted. So Michael Von Zell, and they ran with that. Like they ran, like whatever Bill told them, like in the briefings, they ran all the way with it. Like,
and it was something called A&E?
It was a clothing line, but the police took it out of proportion. You know, and he is American Eagle. But one of my little dogs got killed with the shirt on, like with the outfit. And so, in memory of him, you know, the younger dudes went to wearing A&E. You know, so by them wearing A&E, they automatically, law enforcement, down here, how law enforcement is, if they jump out on you and it's 2 or more people more than 2 times, y'all a gang. Like they'll automatically take your pictures, and they always had on A&E, so that's how they.
And then it was allegedly, according to Lil Bill and Dwayne Miller, beef with Straight Drop. You heard of Straight Drop before?
Yeah.
Is that North Miami City?
No, they out of Liberty City.
Liberty City.
Yeah.
How did you feel about being a gang member?
I wasn't a gang member, but you know, that's what they said. They tied me as a gang member because I got 21 Jump Street tattooed on me. So that's why they had me as 21 and had the other individuals, Bill, the other co-defendants, as A&E. Because I was, you know, older, so.
Authorities claim the reason that shooting happened was because of a retaliation shooting between the two.
For sure, yeah.
Authorities claim Lil Bill say he called a hit from behind jail.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
They don't know what they talking about. Like he was trying to like it's other jail calls like before the case. Like he was trying to get us to go do something. And you know, just it was.
So when you were in trial and you heard people lie about you, what was going through your head?
Like, damn, they really don't want me out like that, man. Like, y'all really like, y'all saying all this about me painting this picture, saying I'm this murderer, saying I'm an enforcer, saying I'm this, and it's like, damn, like.
It took you 9 years to get a trial date?
No, it took me, 2013, I got locked up. It took me 10 years.
10 years.
They had me in one facility for 10 years. Facing the death penalty for 9. For like 9.5 years facing the death penalty.
When did you find out you was facing the death penalty?
When they caught me in Jacksonville, because that's where I got caught at. So when they caught me in Jacksonville, they brought me down, and my first court date when they brought me to Miami, the prosecutor, Michael Bunzel, like, oh, we seeking death penalty. I'm like, damn.
When was you able to get your discovery?
Like July 2013.
So how many months after that?
3 months.
3 months. So 3 months in, you get your discovery.
Yes.
What shocked you the most, man?
Seeing William Brown, aka Lil Bill.
Was that somebody you consider close to you at one point?
Yeah, it was close. It was close. Like he was. It surprised me with Dwayne Miller, but seeing William Brown name, well, like I even told the lawyer I had at the time, Ray Shern, she's garbage. I ended up telling her, like, I don't believe this. Like you got to show me. Like she told me first, and I'm like, no, I don't believe that. I said, you got to show me this. I got to read it. And she sent me his plea agreement, brought it to me, and I read it, and I was like, damn, like a stab in the heart. Like that's how I felt. Like,
right. When did it sink in that you knew rather, a person who was arrested for murder is a state key witness in your case? Like when did that register?
Yeah, when I got the discovery, that's when I was like, oh shit, boy, this shit kind of for real. It's serious. Like my own friend, somebody I considered that was a real friend of me. You know, so yeah, he told him everything. Just
did they ever try to offer you a plea?
At the time, no, yeah. They were Michael Vonzel, life or trial. I say pick a jury. It's not to talk about.
Wow. That was the plea?
That was the plea for 9.5 years. Life or trial.
When did Dwayne Miller get arrested?
2011, November 18th, 2011.
So 2 years prior to you?
Yes.
With the same case?
No, he got locked up for federal drug trafficking, like an indictment.
Oh yeah, with 8 others.
Yes.
At this point, you got 2 people who you at least allegedly knew who's arrested. Or you knew.
Very good.
Right. And they was arrested on other cases and brought your name up for this.
Yes. And it's crazy because I seen Dwayne Miller mama, he got locked up in November. December, I seen her. And I say, get this to your son. She like, my son got money. He don't need that. I say, no, it's the thought that count, but she was looking nervous. And I gave her the $50 and she said she gonna give it to him. But I don't know, around this time, he was telling his mama, like, hey mom, they offered me 10 years. She said, if you don't want to do the 10, you can snitch. She green-lighted him to tell. And first person came to his mind, like, was me. Like,
the state put you away, and now He's behind bars. How do you process
William Brown behind bars.
William Brown?
Yes.
How you process that?
I don't talk, bro. You know.
So now I know you feel that way. We're gonna get to that because I know you feel that way now, but fam, you actually was told you got 4 life sentences.
I had 4 life sentences plus a 30-year sentence.
How was you mentally hearing that?
You know, I was strong because I knew at the end of the day, I'm very spiritual. So like, even before I got the 4 life sentences, when they found me guilty, I went in back to the holding cell and took my trial clothes off and praised God. Like, I gave glory to God, and the 2 bailiffs, like, man, one of the bailiffs say, I've been doing this 22 years, bro. I never seen nobody praise God. You the only one. I'm like, if I'm gonna praise him for good, I gotta praise him for bad. And then the dude say, bro, you passed the test. That was a test right there. You passed the test. You ain't let God down. He said, you gonna get the time back. I say, no, I know. He said, no, you ain't finna be over there alone. And I was there 6 months. And I went back to the county in 6 months. And thanks to Michele IG.
Yes. And I want to briefly speak on you. Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to briefly speak on your attorney. And when did you get a call from her knowing that it was evidence that can help bring you home?
Last year, I was in prison, and she was keeping me updated. You know, I was calling her, you know, asking her what's new with the case, and she was just letting me know, like, the things she was finding. And I felt like at the time, I'm like, that's enough. You don't need to. And she's like, no, I'm gonna keep digging. And she kept digging, and it was just every place she looked at, she was just finding think evidence in my favor.
Good afternoon. My name is Michele IG. I am an attorney, criminal defense only, in Florida, and I own my own law firm, which I'm currently the only lawyer at.
A good one at that. Okay.
Yeah, I need some more. I need some help.
All right. If you don't mind, can you briefly explain what Taji was originally charged with and how strong was the state case?
Yeah, so actually Taji's case was the first homicide that I took at my own firm. I have handled homicides before. However, it was the first homicide I took once I went solo in 2023. And at the time that he contacted me, he had been indicted for first-degree murder, 3 counts of attempt first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. And he had already gone to trial with his co-defendant and got a mistrial. Because in the middle of that first trial, over the weekend, his attorney had an injury and couldn't move forward. So he got a mistrial, and his co-defendant actually got convicted. So he kind of got a preview of, oh, this could happen, right? So then he calls me, he hires me. The case had been reset for November of 2023, and I came on his case in October of 2023. We were about 45 days out from trial, and the judge said, no continuances. And I said, Judge, I at least need to get the transcripts from the first trial. Like, I need something. No continuances. Unconstitutional completely. I have the right to have the transcripts of the first trial, but we had this judge that she was pushing it to trial, hell or high water. So I was in the position in 11-year-old case, I'm preparing for trial in 45 days. I still think I did I know I did a better job than his previous attorney did that had the case for a decade. However, when we went to trial in late November 2023, 2 of his buddies testified, former buddies testified against him. All the evidence I had was the testimony of 2 people that were not present at the crime and a recorded jail call. That's it. No physical evidence, no eyewitnesses, nothing. And it was a cold case. He was indicted 3 years after it happened. But the testimony of these guys was so perfect. It was so perfect. It was like down to a T. I mean, one of them was testifying, I drove him to the scene. I bought him a bandana to wear, bought the shooter's bandanas to wear. I heard the gunshot. I mean, it was like, are you just hovering over? Like, It was so perfect. So the jury convicted him. And he was sentenced to 4 life sentences plus 30 years. And at this time, it was the prosecutor's last trial of his career. He had been a prosecutor for like 30 something years, Michael Van Zomp. And I had previous cases with him. So I already knew that he was dirty, he was disrespectful, and it kind of became my professional goal to expose him. And I felt like I was defeated because Taji was just convicted. This guy's about to retire and walk off into the sunset. So on the day of Taji's sentencing, Michael Van Zomp said, all right, I gotta go. I have a hearing upstairs. And I thought, a hearing upstairs in another courtroom? Well, I thought you were retired. That's what I'm thinking. So I grabbed my bag and I followed him. And I sat down in the courtroom, and what I walked into was an evidentiary hearing in Corey Smith's case. Corey Smith's the alleged leader of the John Doe gang, which was an infamous gang in the 90s in Miami. And he was back on appeal. He was sentenced to death in 2004, and he was back for a resentencing. And they were having a hearing where his attorney was moving to disqualify the state attorney's office for their conduct on his case. So they were having this evidentiary hearing, taking testimony on that. And I sat in that courtroom for, I think it lasted a month. It wasn't every day, but it lasted a month. And I came there every day for the hearing. And I'm just, at this point, I'm just being curious because it's Michael Van Zomp. It's a big case in Miami. So more so, it's just intellectual curiosity. But on the last day of that hearing, Corey Smith's attorney said, Judge, I want to play a jail call that I discovered. And it was a jail call between a convicted murderer, Travis Galashaw, who was a co-defendant on Corey Smith's case, and Michael Van Zomp himself. This guy was calling Michael Van Zomp directly on a recorded jail call. And in that jail call, Michael Van Zomp says, I'm trying to put you in the courtyard with another witness on Corey's case and Bill so that we can iron out his testimony. In so many words. He said, so you can straighten it out, right? And I'll never forget this moment when that's playing in this courtroom. And this was the courtroom that Ted Bundy was tried in. It's the biggest courtroom in the courthouse. It's a huge courtroom. There's probably only 10 people in there and me. And this jail call is playing on a speaker and it's echoing through the courtroom. And as he says, I'm putting you in the courtroom with little Bill, which is the snitch witness on Taji's case. 20 or 30 years younger than Corey Smith, has nothing to do with his case. Michael Van Zomp scans the courtroom, locks eyes with me. I'm already looking at him. And I said, you motherfucker. Because I knew in that moment, something's going on. Something's going on. And I started digging.
Because I was going to ask you that. I said, because you first said that they got everything down to a T. And then I also read that they was really coached. So then I was going to ask you, when did you realize that they was potentially coached to be what was told? So
how Taji came to be indicted was Dwayne Miller, aka Bone. He was indicted in a big drug ring in Opelika, back in 2011. So he's sitting in the feds in 2011. And in the feds, it's commonly known that like the first one to cooperate is going to get the deal. Because when the feds get you, like they got you, like they did their investigation. It's not like counties or states. Like they investigate, they do their wiretaps, they do everything they need to do. So once they got you unless you become a cooperating witness. Right. So Bone decides, I'm going to be that first one to jump the gun. So he's cooperating with the feds and he's getting debriefed. And in his debriefings, he said, I got some info about Bill too. He's locked up for a murder in state, and I used to give him guns. So when they hear little Bill and they know he's locked up, they pull all of his jail calls and they start investigating Bill and Bone's relationship with each other. Mm-hmm. And in that investigation, they find a jail call where Bill is in jail and he calls out to Taji and numerous other people that are in a car together, and they're discussing a shooting. And they just jump on it. Oh, if they're discussing it, they must have committed it. They know the details of it. But everyone knows that when a shooting occurs, The whole neighborhood finds out about it. Everybody has a phone, they're calling somebody. There was testimony that there was 100 people on scene after the shooting, and everybody was taking videos, sending pictures. So, but they just jump on it. So that's all their evidence. They have this jail call and they have Dwayne Miller, right? So after that, they indict Taji and his co-defendants, and they start building a case. And they also indicted Bill because Bill was on the phone with them. So they indicted him as a conspirator. Even though he's in jail and we know he couldn't have anything to do with it, he's facing life on a murder that was committed while he was in jail. So there's all these phone calls of Bill saying, why aren't they telling them I have nothing to do with it? Well, idiot, saying you have nothing to do with something that A, I didn't do, B, is a confession. Because if I'm saying you didn't do it, that means I know who did it, you know? Right. So he thinks that they're all screwing him somehow. And he says, well, I'm going to get ahead of that and I'm going to screw them. He becomes a state witness. And in the process of that, he gets debriefed numerous times by numerous detectives and confesses to at least 3 other homicides that he committed. And Michael Van Zomp decides on his own, I'm not even going to charge you with those if you testify against Taji. So that's how his testimony became perfect. Now, I discovered after Taji was convicted that Dwayne Miller actually emailed Michael Van Zomp before the trial and said, I don't remember anything that happened back then, but I see you're trying to make me remember. And in response to that, Michael Van Zomp FedEx packaged the lead detective's deposition transcript and report to Dwayne Miller so that he could study it for his testimony.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And that's how it became so perfect.
Now, when you got all this, what's going through your head?
So at this time, when I'm discovering all this, it's, you know, slowly trickling out, but it seemed like everything that I was looking for, I was finding. Okay. It was almost like the universe was sending it to me.
Right.
So at this time, Taji's case was on direct appeal, which is the first appeal after your conviction, when you're appealing everything that happened during the trial. And I discovered so much stuff that I asked the higher court, just send it back to the trial court now. Like, I don't even need a direct appeal. Like, I'm doing a post-conviction appeal right now. And the higher court agreed that there was at least a showing of Brady evidence being withheld. Brady evidence is either exculpatory evidence or impeachment evidence. Right. So it's evidence that proves somebody's innocence or evidence that would have shown somebody was lying on the stand or impeached them.
Because I was going to ask you next, what exactly was the Brady violation in this case? But
yeah. So people often think that Brady evidence is like complete evidence that like you're completely innocent that was withheld, but there's also impeachment evidence. Impeachment evidence is anything tending to discredit a witness. So for instance, Dwayne Miller was paid $5,000. Dwayne Miller's family was relocated to Georgia. Dwayne Miller said he didn't remember anything. Dwayne Miller was sent a transcript. I didn't get to tell the jury about any of that. So when he was up on the stand, he just looked like he knew everything and he was doing it out of his own free will and goodwill. No, you were doing that because your family was getting paid and put up and and you were fed the testimony. And then Bill, on the other hand, I knew that he had been debriefed. I never got the actual debriefing. I knew that he had confessed to homicides, but I never knew that he was given full immunity, that the parents of those victims were never even told that their children's murderer confessed. I wasn't told that Bill's family was put on, Bill's mom was put on witness protection. Her rent was paid. He was for some reason put on the lease. So by Michael Van Zomp. So you must think he's getting out within the calendar year if he's being put on a lease. He was held in the county jail for 10 years strategically. I thought maybe there was something pending or he was a witness on a case. No, he was strategically held in the county jail. So and he was calling the detectives directly, calling Michael Van Zomp directly, being a state agent, giving information.
Also isolated in his own jail cell as well.
Yeah, however, Michael Van Zomp had connections with corrections and would ask them to put him in the courtyard with certain people. So even though he was in a single man cell, he still had access to other people and he was talking to people and fishing for information on their and these are represented defendants that have attorneys in jail pending homicide cases, and Bill is fishing for questions and then calling the detectives and saying, hey, yeah, they were driving this truck for the murder. Completely unconstitutional. So I discovered all this stuff. I'm confident enough at this point, I don't even need a direct appeal. Like, send this down to the lower court.
Negligence or misconduct?
Oh, definitely misconduct. It was completely willful by Michael Von Zom. I can't say that the other prosecutor on the case, while I don't like him and I think he's sleazy, I don't have any concrete evidence that he knew about everything. I think they might have kept his head buried in the sand so they can kind of cover it up. But I didn't find any direct evidence that he knew a lot of this stuff. But Michael Von Zom, his name was all over it.
What's your take on people being accused of murder and still being able to be a witness?
I think that anyone that's accused of a crime and is looking at their own freedom being taken away from them have a motive to not tell the truth. And at the very least, that has to be exposed to a jury. At the very least. I don't think anyone that is out here doing that type of, living that type of lifestyle, it's just like their nature to just be a good person and go snitch on the next person. No, they're doing it for their own benefit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I personally, I don't represent any defendants that have the willingness to be a cooperating witness, only because I'm not going to get into the politics of snitching. However, how I feel, I could be the next person's attorney just as easy as I could be yours. So I'm not going to help you put that defendant in a worse position. When, if the tables were turned, I would be pissed off if my defendant's, best friend was snitching on him. So, and I never condone that. So that's why, there are situations where it's like, all right, that person told, but it's not like in Taji's situation, you're only saving your own ass.
Mm-hmm. Would you consider this a textbook case of wrongful conviction or based on manipulation of witness testimony?
I think it's a textbook case of prosecutorial misconduct. Of them withholding what they want to paint the case the way they want to in front of a jury. And they infused the case with misconduct. So it's not like there was stuff that they found and they withheld. Like, Michael Von Zom created the impeachment evidence. He created the misconduct on the case. Like, he's the one that gave immunity to a multi-killer. He's the one that sent transcripts to witnesses. He's the one that knew that money was being paid. He's the one that received records that he never turned over. So it's not like there was just misconduct that was buried. Like, no, he created it and buried it.
So I can't get over the fact that if you didn't follow Michael Von Zom into that courtroom, we wouldn't be right here talking.
No, I don't think we would be. I think I still would have kept digging just because it didn't sit right with me. Also, to know Taji is to love Taji. Like, he might have had, a past in the streets like many people do that grew up in certain communities, but he's a good person. He has a good heart. And I love his family. So when he got convicted, I'm thinking like, shit, like lawyers, family members, like they spend their entire life trying to get a conviction overturned. So I was preparing myself for like, this was going to be the case of my life, that I just fight for somebody's freedom. Like, I thought this could take me, decades to fix.
What was the legal turning point that led to his conviction being vacated?
So when he came back to the lower court on appeal, Michael Von Zom was gone. He was already being disgraced because of what happened on Corey Smith's case. And then all of this stuff is coming up on Taji's case, which can't be ignored. So Stephen Mitchell, co-counsel for the state, filed a response to my motion and tried to cover it up, but there was misrepresentations even in his response. So when I'm pointing out those misrepresentations to the state, I think they finally got it. Like, they need to find a way to brush this under the rug because I wasn't going to stop. So they took Stephen Mitchell off the case and they put 2 new prosecutors on the case. And they, to their kudos to them, they were actually pretty transparent. I told them, like, look, before we prepare for an evidentiary hearing and go through all these legal steps, let's get on a Zoom. Let's have a conversation. Because I think that we could probably resolve this. And I think that it was in their benefit to resolve it. Because at this time, I'm going to the media. Oh, I talked to Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton was going to come to Miami because he had originally come to Miami after the Liberty City shooting. I was like, I got an update for you. The shooter got immunity. Like, I mean, I was calling anyone that would listen. And the state does not like that media attention. So we got on a Zoom call. 2 of Taji's co-defendants who were alleged to actually be the shooters, like actually fired guns, because the jury found that Taji was not even in possession of a firearm. But the 2 that were alleged to have actually fired guns, they were given 15 years. At this point, with gain time, Taji had almost served 15 years. So we got on a Zoom and I said, I'll take what the co-defendants got. And we don't even have to battle this out in court. You could save face. And they thought about it. They played hardball for a little while. As they're playing hardball, I'm discovering more stuff. They're turning over more stuff. Finally, they're like, all right, we'll agree. And we went to court and they vacated his life sentences.
What was Taji's reaction when you told him the court had ruled?
Oh my God. I think I might have sent you a picture. There's a picture in one of the news articles. He has got a Kool-Aid smile. And, you know, it looks insensitive because they put that out in the media of, oh, convicted killer gets life sentence overturned and he's smiling. Like, yeah, he got his life back, you know? Exactly. So people only think about the victim side of it. But they fail to recognize that the state attorney's office also failed the victims. And Taji getting his life sentence overturned isn't a failure to the victims. It's the state attorney's office and how they handled it. They steal justice from everybody.
So what message would you send to other attorneys working on post-conviction cases?
I have a quote that I like to say. I say that good lawyers do what they have to do and great lawyers do what they don't have to do. Because it's that extra stuff that you don't have to do that, like, you find miracles happen. You find stuff. I didn't have to go to that courtroom, but I did. And that's where the miracles happen.
Wow. We all need to be thanking Michele. See, last question, right? Before I let you go, and I'm thankful for your time. Is justice complete in this case or still some unfinished business?
There's unfinished business. I think that justice for Taji, obviously he's home, which is awesome. Thankfully for Taji, he's not having a hard time adjusting because he always kept the mindset of freedom. He never let it wear down on him. So thankfully, he's not having a hard time adjusting. However, I think that the victims in this case are the parents of the victims of Bill. They were told for 15 years that their children's homicide was being investigated, and Michael Von Zomp and the police never told them that Bill had confessed and been given immunity. So they've been in pain for the past 15 years when they could have just been told. And they're still being told that their case is open and being investigated, so they can't get any closure for their teenage son's murders, one of which she watched him die in the street that night. Wow. So I think that justice for them is still pending. I think that justice for a lot of people who were prosecuted by Michael Von Zomp and are serving life sentences and might have had the same misconduct on their case, justice for them hasn't been served because the state attorney's office refuses to review any of his convictions. They act like it's just business as usual. Wow. And I don't know when that shoe will drop that they decide, like, okay, we need to do some reviewing.
Wow. Oh man, I'm so grateful we was able to have this conversation. Is there anything else the world would like to know and how to contact you?
Yeah, they can find me. My name's Michele Borchu, and it's borchulaw.com. I work in all of Florida, mostly Miami and Broward counties, but I'll travel anywhere if it's worth it and people need fighting for. And that's about it.
Of course, me and the audience saw her on a news clip speaking up for you as well. At what point do you think Man, I could possibly come home.
When Michael Von Zant and Stephen Mitchell got, what's the word I think they got struck from the Corey Miller case.
Right.
Corey Smith. I'm not Corey Smith.
Right. And we briefly
when he got that like made me like, dang, like what's gonna happen next? I know something good's gonna come out of this. And then, but really like when the third DCA agreed with, that was in May of last year, they agreed to send my case back to the lower court. And I was like, okay, it's good now. It's official.
Your name was cleared and the truth came out. How did your family react?
Oh, they were happy. Everybody was happy. You know, a lot of people were hating too, You know, my son was very happy. Like,
oh man.
He was very happy. Michelle made a promise when I got convicted last year, and she told my son that I'm gonna get your daddy home.
Oh man.
Kept her word. Like she literally kept her word to that.
Man, what do justice mean to you now?
This system just messed up. It's no justice. Like they just like, it's so many brothers, it's so many people that innocent life sentences, like beatable cases, and like they found them guilty. There's no justice. Like it's.
And they Mike Brown told authorities you was allegedly responsible for how many?
16 murders. And even the lawyer I had, my co-defendant lawyer, like, dang, this guy must be John Wick. Like, this guy, like, who is he? Like you gotta be making it up. And he like, no, I'm not making it up. This is like, I know him. This is what he told me. Like I know him.
Fam, I wanted to ask you this, right? Because I wanted to wait till we was near the end. Because when I mentioned Mike Brown, you expressed how that hit you differently than, even though both of them hit you. But when Mike Brown, you realize he told
William Brown.
Oh yeah. With Little Bill.
Yeah.
Little Bill, you know, when he told, it cut you a little different. Now, when he told Michael Vaughn, when you later was discovered the email that he told Michael Vaughn, he didn't remember nothing 7 or 8 years ago, and he was forced by the state.
That's Dwayne Miller.
Oh, that was Dwayne Miller who said that?
Yes.
Do you think he said that to try to cover his footsteps or try to have a change of heart? Or you think that was the truth?
That was the truth, because he know he was wrong. And then he know you lying, you told a lie. And one thing about a lie, you got to keep up with the lie. How you forget something from that many years ago? But right now, sudden, they send you money, your memory back. Like you just.
When you found out that he was sent 5,000, what was going through your head?
I couldn't do nothing but laugh, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. I was like, oh shit. Like they going to this extent. Like, damn, they want me this bad. Like, damn, like y'all going this overboard. Like, they just did illegal stuff all through the case. Like, and it's like, thank God for Michelle, the board truth, because if I wouldn't have had her, I wouldn't have been right here. Like,
what you want people to learn from your story, fam?
Stay out the streets, man. Don't. It ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Choose your friends wisely. Pay attention to signs. You know, because now that I think about it, they show me signs they'll tell. So it's like, you know, it ain't even stay to yourself. You know, just, you know, not saying do something, but do it by yourself. Don't tell them. You ain't gonna tell on yourself.
Right. What would you tell somebody currently fighting for their freedom behind bars and feel like they innocent?
keep the positive energy. Like, this was my formula. Stay prayed up, stay talking about the streets, and tell you going home. Like, always, like, you talk about the streets, you getting out, you out there, you gotta vision yourself out there, talk yourself out there, and this shall come. But a lot of people go wrong because they innocent and they fighting for their freedom, but they talk about prison. Like, you can't talk about, like, you gotta talk about where you trying to go, like where you going. And that was my way of getting out.
Man, what heals you from something like this?
Huh?
What heals you from something like this?
Reading books on, like, laws of attraction books. Like The Secret, Prosperity Bible, the regular Bible. Enjoying freedom. Like, thinking about freedom, like, damn, I got a son out there. Like, just like, I know it can't end like this. You know, I'm not perfect, but I know it can't end like this. Like these dudes telling on me, prosecutors ain't playing right, and like,
Man, there's one question, because we both firm believers in God.
Yeah.
You feel like you was put through that for a reason? And do you feel like you gonna serve that purpose?
Yes. I live by everything happened for a reason. Sad to say, innocent person lost their life. Sad to say, everything happened for a reason. Like, it was meant for me to go through that to see who these guys was. Like, they revealed their hand. And, you know, I always ask God to show me signs. Get people out my life that mean me no good.
You gonna release a documentary soon?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they got to be on the lookout for that as well.
You know, I'm gonna let you know. You know, we locked in. So
we locked in, fam. We locked in.
Locked in, bro.
Anything else you would like to let the world know? They need to know how to reach out to your attorney. That's what they need.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. They can follow me on my Instagram, BIGG, big_Withheld.
Okay, and I'll make sure I leave the link in the bio for that too, fam. Hey, I appreciate your time, fam. I hope we can stay in touch on more.
No, we locked in.
Man, we locked in. Tell your attorney I said thank you as well. And we good, man. All right. I'll talk to you. Okay.
I know this was a lot, but I'm happy he was able to get his side of the story out. Because like they say, there's always three sides of the story. Your side, the opposite side, and somewhere in the middle, the truth. I want to say rest in peace to every victim we talked about in this story. Once again, a level of condolences to you guys' families. And for anyone who was affected by the story we just talked about, I want to send love and prayers you guys' way as well. Fam, let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. This was the story and interview of a Miami man who was sentenced to 4 life sentences and managed to come home almost a decade plus later. Talk to me in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.